Hey everyone, I am so excited to be back for another episode of Saturday Shoutouts, where we recognize a Thrive Tribe member of the week to get to know them a little bit better, to build belonging and connection. So when you see them posting or liking a post, you can be like, hey, I remember him or I remember her. And you might find that you have a connection with this person across the country. Who knows? Anyways, I'm very, very excited to have my friend Rita with us on the show today. Rita is going to share, her life is changing a little bit, but we were introduced when she was teaching in Kern High School District in Bakersfield, and she was in my breathtaking class. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Rita. Welcome to the show, and tell the world a little bit about yourself.
Okay, thanks, Joelle. So my name is Rita Torres, and I have been an art teacher for about 15 years. I taught at juvenile hall, I taught at a community learning school, and then I've been at the Kern High School District for the last 12 years. I spent 5 of those years coaching softball, and I have a daughter who's 19, just finished up her first year at Davis, and a son who's 8 going into third grade. So breathtaking, that changed my life. And I'm so grateful that the Kern High School District offered that, because they haven't in the past done a lot for teachers in terms of kind of mental health care, and things like that, and things that you could take and really use with your students as well. But it's so important for teachers because we're all crazy. You have to be crazy to teach high school. Let's just admit it. To want to spend 185 days a year with high schoolers, up 200 high schoolers a day, you're crazy. So do something for yourself, Anyways, so that's how we met. And breathtaking made such a huge impact in my life that I really started exploring mindfulness more and figuring out how I could use that with my athletes. And I started a master's program in coaching and athletic administration.
Wow. And I just remember that Rita would email or, message me on Facebook with these such inspirational posts of things that she did with her team. I mean, sometimes it would bring me to tears. Just what an incredible coach you were and human you were with those girls. And no matter what goes on, they will not forget what you did for them. So I'm just going to ask a couple of things. Like, one, Sure. Can you share with them the chant that you did with your girls? I'll have to see if I can find. You might have to resend me that clip, and I'll put it in the comments below if you have it.
Okay. So that came out of one of my master's classes, and I was reading this book about this football coach, and that was one of the things. And he coached at a Christian high school, and I coached at a public high school. But I was like, there's no real God element in it. I asked the girls, my assistant coach and I asked the girls, "What's our job?" We don't ask them, we yell it. Like, we're like, "What's our job?" And then they say, "To love us." And then we yell back, "What's your job?" And they answer, "To love each other." And then we do our little rebels on 3 and get out of there. But,
how did that
I'm sorry, go ahead.
How did that shift things? Just even that little chant.
For me personally, it shifted my thinking, because it really was, that's my job. And every day, we did that chant. And after a tough loss, we did that chant. After a hard practice, we did that. That was our, kind of mantra. And on the days when I wouldn't do it, the girls kept me accountable. "Hey, coach, let's go. Come on, do your thing." So it made a shift that way in terms of my coach and I, my assistant coach and I, making sure that, these girls really do know that we love them. And then the girls, whether they were fighting or not, because, kids are kids. They have arguments, they have disagreements, they pick each other up, they let each other down. And they would make sure that, they knew that they still loved each other.
Beautiful.
It was good. It was really good.
I remember too that you did some activities and posted some pictures about them doing like some mindfulness and some gratitude activities. Mm-hmm. Can you share some of those activities just for parents that might be watching or educators that
So we started out the first year, we did a lot of meditating and mindfulness. And then we had yoga on Wednesdays. one of our assistant coaches is also a yoga instructor. So she came on Wednesdays and we did like a 20-minute wind down at the end of practice, just doing some yoga and some breathing techniques and things like that. We did some mindful coloring. And being an art teacher, that was really like an easy thing for me to do. But I forgot not everybody's a colorer. Like you're either the drawer or the colorer. And some kids didn't like the coloring aspect of it. They're frustrated in, whatever, having to choose colors or stay in the lines or whatever. So this year I kind of let the coloring go. We did a lot of goal setting as a team and as individuals, and kind of really looking at what it's like to be a team, what your teammates depend on you for and what you depend on them for, and really just have kind of an open dialogue about that. And then this year I did something a little different that I hadn't done in years past, of where I really expected the varsity girls to help teach the younger levels, so JV and frost off. And then did a lot of exercises at the beginning where they got to know each other and trust each other a little bit more. And that kind of set up this dynamic where my varsity girls were really responsible for teaching. And in order to teach something, my goodness, you have to understand it. So, batting or slapping or bunting and those things. And then you really see the deficiencies in your own players when you watch them teach someone else what they don't understand. So that was really good. And then you didn't have this separation of levels as much, where we didn't like to be around the varsity girls, or, the frost off was intimidated to talk to a varsity girl. We just didn't have that as much, I think, as in years past. And so it was nice.
It sounds like really spent time investing in the mental game as much as physical aspect, and really building up their social emotional skills to be able to communicate and collaborate and have that unity as a team, which is just as foundational as the physical aspects. And I think people miss that. And I think professional teams are moving in that direction. I know most professional teams have like a mindset coach as part of their, and even college teams. And so it's just now starting to get into high school. And I think we'll be seeing more of that.
Absolutely. And I did that. I showed them why mindfulness was important. I showed them the video of the news reporter. You'll know which one it is. Is it Dan
Harris?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and how he talks about it and why it's so important. So you're not just going in there dry, like, this is what we're going to do and I'm the coach and you're going to do it, because it doesn't work.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So let me ask you this. What do you do for, you're a mom, you're a teacher, coach, and what do you do for your own well-being? What do you do to kind of reboot and rejuvenate yourself?
So after our breathtaking course that I did 2 years ago, I worked really hard on meditating regularly, and I fell out of that practice. And I could tell within myself, like, ooh, I got to get back to that. And so I meditate 4 to 5 times a week. And I have an app I love that I just use, and it kind of brings you in and centers you. And I can kind of go through and go, okay, I'm dealing with a little anxiety or a tough person in my life or whatever it is, and take that time to meditate on that issue or that moment, so that, you can have a little peace about it.
Yeah. What app do you use?
It's called, I think, Mindfulness. It is actually, let me pull it up because I have it right here. It's called Meditation Studio. Can you see that?
A little bit. Maybe I'll post the link.
Okay. It used to be like completely free, but there's still a bunch on there that's free, but you can like subscribe and get some other apps or some other meditations and stuff. But I haven't done that, and I still haven't like really gone through all of them to where I'm like bored, But and then I have my son who's 8 and he's meditating. So he'll say, can we listen to this one? Or he likes the visualization ones. So that's good for him with sleeping. He has some issues sleeping. So we usually do that at night before bed. And then I'm an artist, so I like to do art. I don't get a whole lot of time to do it. I also do a little gardening. I feel like that's really meditative, because it's not, you're not distracted, right? So you get that opportunity to think. It's kind of like, I think, cycling or running, where, not that I run, God, but where, it's just you and your thoughts. You can work some stuff out.
Your particular gardening desire is with succulents right now?
That's right. Yeah. I have a little infatuation. I learned how to propagate succulents. And so it's become a hobby that is taking over my front porch right now. But it's so fun. It's so fun. So
I want to go back for just a second to your son wanting to meditate. I think a lot of parents and educators think, oh, I don't want to teach, I like it, but my kids are never going to want to do this. And I have really seen the opposite. I have seen kids saying, I need this. Can we do that? And so I'm just wondering if at the beginning, if your son was like, I don't want to do it, and then gradually did it, or did he like to do it right from the beginning? Or
I think, like anything else, once he saw that it was really working, like he could feel a difference in himself, then he was much more interested in it. But I just kind of, for the first couple times, like, we're going to do this together. And if you have questions about it, we can talk about it. We can stop. We can, go through the process. This is what's going to happen. I listened to it first, so there was no weird surprises. But, hey, this is what they're going to ask you to do, and go through it. And I think me being comfortable with it first makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So let me ask you just some random, they're not actually, these initial ones are not too random, but what is your favorite piece of art?
Ooh.
Or one of them?
I really love Georgia O'Keeffe.
Nice.
So her enlarged flower pictures are probably some of my favorite artwork. I remember I stood in a gallery or a museum in San Diego in a room full of her art and just started weeping, like, oh my God, it's so amazing. Yeah. I also like, I love things like abstract art. I really like, well, of course she's abstract, but not necessarily representational.
Okay. What is your favorite motivational song? So if you're feeling kind of in the dumps, if you put on this song, it'll get you going, or maybe clean the house, or maybe it's your driving song or your power song.
There's one by Rachel Patton called "This Is My Fight Song."
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of cheesy, but my daughter and I will be, on a road trip or something, and we've got all these like corny, like, this is my fight song, and we'll be doing hand movements to it and stuff. So that's like the first one that comes to mind, because by the time you're 40, you've already had all these fights in your life, right? With just everything, and you just keep picking yourself back up.
We have to.
Adventure. Yeah.
Resilience. Okay, here's just a kind of random question. Would you rather have whatever you're thinking appear above your head for everyone to see, or have absolutely everything you do live streamed for anyone to see?
That's
so your thoughts question. Or your actions?
Oh, that's horrible.
I know.
It's probably my actions. I don't know that everybody needs to see what I'm thinking all the time.
That would be the same for me. I think I would choose the same. Okay, and then the last question, and I don't want you to overthink, but just if you could teach the world just one thing, and they would learn something from Rita, what would you want to teach them?
Oh God, empathy. Empathy, because once somebody has empathy for someone else, it changes everything. It's just, it's like a snowball rolling downhill, right? And then that person shows empathy for somebody else, and you don't really understand that, I think, until you've shown empathy or you've received empathy from someone. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being on our Shout Out Saturday. Drive Tribe. If you have questions for Rita, you want to ask her more about some coaching tips, maybe there's coaches out there or parents or anybody who wants to ask, you can put your comments in the chat box and then she'll see them. So everyone have a great rest of your Saturday. We'll see you soon. Peace out.
Bye.